Hey guys, what's going on? SG Leo here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the ultimate card guide in Lost Ark. Let's get into this. Alright guys, so cards in this game can actually yield a lot of rewards. Now, every time you look at a new feature in this game, or you unlock a new way to better your character, the game tends to throw a lot at you. There's a lot of imagery going on, there's a lot of slides going on, so I'm going to do my best to break down how the cards work and how beneficial that they're actually going to be. So if you want to access your cards, first you want to go down to your little roster, click on that, and you go to your card catalog and open that up. Now this is what you're going to see first, is your equip screen. So at first you're not going to have any cards, and as you play the game you're going to get a lot of these guys from questing for the most part. Some of these guys you can get from dungeons, things like that. I'll show you guys where you can look and figure out where these cards come from. But let's start with equipping. So equipping, this is your equip screen. And when you equip two cards in the same set, right? So each one of these rows here is a set. You will get a buff. So for instance, I have these two equipped here, the Dan and Giant Worm. So since I have two of them equipped, over here, earth damage reduction +8. I have these two equipped here, boom, boom. Fire damage reduction. And then I have these two ladies equipped from this set, which then gives me -8 damage from foes at 50% or lower health. So basically what that means is once an enemy drops below 50%, they do 8% less damage to me. Now these effects stack, okay? So the more of each card you have in the set, for a total of 6, the set will increase. So for instance, if I were to go and deselect these, you can see now it's going to tell me what I can get. So you'll see first it'll be 8%. At 4's cards with these two here, right? With my Desert of the Sky set. At first I get my +8% earth damage reduction. Then it gives me another 8% for a total of 16. And then if I have all 6 cards, I get an extra 9%. So it'll be a 25% reduction in earth damage, which obviously every set and every group of cards has their meaning and time of use, right? So you can actually have several different decks here. The first 3 are free. After that, you do have to buy up to 10 decks. But honestly, it's pretty easy just to come here and go, okay, I know, you know, say you're in late game. I know that this dungeon does a ton of fire damage, so I'll just equip 6 fire damage reduction cards. Now, when you get down past your Desert of Sky 6 set, so the full set, you have 6 cards of this deck, you're going to see that it has an 18-piece awakening and a 30-piece awakening. Now, what is awakening? Awakening is the level of your cards combined, okay? So if I had 6 cards in this set, right? If I had all 6 cards equipped in this set, and I leveled them all to level 3, right? So you see these little gems right there, these little gray gems? That is the level of the card, okay? So if I were to get all of them to level 3, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit, it would then give me an 18-piece awakening, so I would gain an additional 2% damage, okay? If I were to get a 30-piece awakening, which means all 6 cards would have to be level 5, or the max level, personal and party fire damage on foe, so I'd get 1% increase to that. So there is that. That's basically the basics when it comes to equipping cards. You, again, can just drag them off, and then you can drag whichever ones you feel necessary. So, say I want that one and that one. Boom. It doesn't matter which ones you have equipped. It doesn't. If they're in this set, they're going to give you the bonus. It's just, depending on the rarity, they can be harder to get, and they're going to cost more to upgrade, and they actually do have a little bit of a better effect, but I'll get to that here in a second. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and equip my cards. back on, and we'll save my deck. So there's my deck, right? It's the same thing with all of these, right? Everything, the more you add, the better your stats are going to be. Some of these decks only have 2 characters, so you can only get that dual set. And when it comes to like the Ascension part, or actually leveling it, their max is obviously only, you know, for this deck it would only be 10, right? You'd have to have Ascension 10. But since it's a legendary and an epic card, so purple and gold, they're going to cost more to enhance, right? And we'll get to that in a second. So that's basically the basics of equipping. It's pretty straightforward. Just, you can come over here to set effects above each set, and it'll tell you what each set does. And from that point, you can kind of judge, like, okay, so this is what my character mainly does. So when I'm just running around doing PvE stuff, doing collectibles, whatever, I'll equip this deck. If I'm going into, you know, Chaos Dungeons or whatever, you're going to want to equip, you know, the Abyss Dungeons, whatever you're doing, you're going to want to equip these cards, yada, yada, yada. So it all depends on what you're doing. Just take the time to read through it. It's a pretty quick read. It took me like 2 minutes to read through all this. It's pretty basic stuff. So let's move over to the Books tab. So what do books do? Books, no matter if you own the card, right? So if you have the card and you're able to equip it, or you've deleted the card, so long as you have the card, have gotten the card at some point, it will be in your book category. Now, this is all the books in the game, right? Every book. And you can see each book has a certain amount of cards. Some overlap, right? So you'll see if you go through, I have 3 of these guys. See, Solus is in that deck. It's in that deck. These girls are here. This guy's been in a couple decks already. Like, you can see that they do overlap, so it's not like if you were to count all this, that's how many cards are in the game. There's a lot less cards than this in the game. But as you can see, each time that you collect a certain amount of cards in each book set, you gain a certain buff, right? And that's permanent. That's what goes across all your characters, and as do your cards. Your cards are equipable for all your characters, okay? This is a roster thing. So if you have 6 characters on your account to your server, you can use all these cards for those characters, okay? Because it's a roster tab, right? So this will also apply to your roster as a whole. So the more cards you collect, right, the more bonuses you're going to achieve. So if you go down to, like, so if we went all the way down to the bottom, if we were to collect all 10 cards, we would get +8 strength, +8 dexterity, and +8 intelligence for all of our characters. And then as we level each card, so say we got all cards to level 5, it would give us a bonus 0.14% damage to elementals, okay? Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you were to go look at some of the guys who have been playing on the Korean servers or the Russian servers for a long time and actually have most of this done, the damage adds up really, really quick, and you do a ton of damage, and it's a huge game changer for when you start a new character. So, but yeah, that's basically how books work. It's pretty straightforward. Again, if you have a card and you delete it, which we'll get to why you would want to delete cards here soon, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you have gotten the card at some point, it will be in your book, all right? So now let's move over to the Enhanced tab. So when you move over here, your cards are going to be sorted by rarity, okay? As you can see here, they're sorted by rarity. Now, this is basically going to show all the cards you have, right? This is just going to show all the cards you currently have. And if they have like a little plus on them like this, that means you have a duplicate of that card. So you have more than one of that card. Now, up here, you're going to see you have card XP enhancement points. Now you can have 999,999,999 total XP, right? That is how much you can accumulate before the game's like, all right, you have too much. How do you get card XP enhancement points? You have to delete your cards, okay? So some cards, you're going to be able to farm the crap out of them, and just by doing, again, by doing bosses, dungeons, some you can just find by random mob drops. Again, I'll show you guys how you can find your cards here in a second. And you're just going to want to delete the cards that you have excesses of. Now, one quick thing. Now, I could be an idiot, okay? But if I were to delete this card, okay? Right? I believe... Yes, it still does that. I don't know why it does that. If you delete that card, as you can see, I got my XP, but you have multiple copies of that card, it deletes both of them. I don't know why. I haven't figured out how to separate them. People seem to not know how to separate them either, so keep that in mind. So, for instance, if you have a really rare card, and you find another one, before you click on it in your inventory to add it to your collection, make sure you delete the card you have before reading the next card. Just otherwise you'll lose both of them. So keep that in mind. It shouldn't matter as much if you're like getting these low level cards, like it's not as big of a deal. But yeah, that's basically how enhancement works. You're just going to want to delete the cards that you're never going to use, or that, you know, like go through the equipped decks, see which ones you're going to want, which ones you're going to want to keep, which ones are rare. And then go over here and then, you know, start deleting cards that you aren't using, are never going to use, yada yada. That's how you get XP. And then if you want to enhance a card, so I have Nahun equipped. I don't want to delete cards, so say, and then you can see right here it's going to take 19,000 enhancement points. And then once you max it out, it's going to tell you how much silver it's going to cost as well. I would say enhancement's more of a late game feature once you start getting a ton of silver. Because early on, the bonuses just help in general. So just keep that in mind. It is going to be expensive as time goes on, but you're eventually going to have no issues with silver. But yeah, that's basically how you level your cards. Pretty straightforward, and like I said, if I were to do this, click enhance, he would get a little blue dot there, meaning he would be level 1, basically, or level 2, I guess, technically. But yeah. Now, how do you find all these damn cards? So the way you would actually want to find all these cards is you would go down here and you go to your guide, right? And if you did Alt-D or just went to your codex, this is where all the things you can find are, right? So if you scroll down to cards, click on that and then click on all, this is going to tell you where you can find these cards, okay? There are 238 cards in the game, okay? And this is where you're going to be able to find them all. Here's the catch, though. You'll notice that some of them are rapport type, right? You can only get them once for doing a quest. For this quest, Legion Reborn or Legend Reborn. That's how you get this card. The way you'd have to get more of them is by replaying the game and doing that quest again. Okay? There are ways to get past that, obviously, so there are certain, like, wandering merchants, which is a whole nother video, but there's, like, wandering merchants where you can go and buy cards. They usually only have a set amount of cards, actually, as well, so that can be a pain in the ass. Some of these guys will say it on here, like, you can only get from wandering merchant. This one you get from a treasure map, sailing voyage, cube, tower, or chaos dungeon. If I were to go back to here, field bosses, quest, dungeons, city, wandering merchant, right there. That's the one I was looking for. So you can actually buy this card off of a wandering merchant. So the way that you can bypass having to replay the game to get all these cards and max them out, is you would have to go to the store. Yes, you would have to spend money. And usually they're giving away a weekly card bundle, right? So they'll give you some simple card XP and any card pack, right? And you can get 3 of them a week. So unless you're willing to put in a ton of money to max out every card in the game, good luck. So for the most part, I would just stick with maxing out the ones that you can max out, the ones that you can just farm from dungeons or from mobs. And I wouldn't worry about maxing out some of these quest ones, because to get the amount of cards you would need is ridiculous. So keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, I think that's really about it. Again, just a quick run over, just to make sure everything is exactly how you imagine. This is where you equip. You need at least 2 cards to make a set and get a bonus from them. This tells you all of your cards that you have acquired. The more you acquire, the more bonuses you are going to get. It doesn't matter if you've deleted the card. You are still going to get the bonus. You just have to have found it. You don't need to keep it. Enhancing, The way you enhance, again, delete cards, get XP, drag card over, give it an amount of XP, enhance it, it will level up the card. But yeah, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope it cleared up some things for you. If it did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That would be extremely helpful. I hope these guides are helping you guys out in this game. I know there's a lot of stuff in Lost Ark. It just seems like every day you're finding something new and something more tedious. It's a Korean grind fest, guys. It's a Korean MMO. There's a lot of features. Truly, I think this game can be played for 3,000 hours. And then maybe you'll be done with it. So, it's a long game. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Lost my best friend to 23. She left her body in Harvard above me.